Good evening. Good evening. Come on in. Come on in. Hello, Lady C. Nola. Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. Y'all showing up and ready for the show. Just how I like it. Welcome to the Sunday setup. We're going to go ahead and get started because I see y'all showing up and y'all ready. Y'all must know who's our special guest today. But before we get there, hi, welcome, Tanya. Appreciate you being here. I appreciate everyone for being here. I'm your host, Dawn Michelle, and this is the Sunday setup. Thank you for meeting me here. So let's get into it. Before we get started, as always, I let you know this is a safe space. We are here for good vibes and positivity only. So if that's what you're looking for, you're in the right place. So what's been going on in the news this week? Let's talk about our good auntie, Sheryl Lee Ralph. Did anyone see her post online? So apparently she was flying Delta and she got to the airport like 4 minutes too late to check her suitcases in because you got to be there a certain amount of time in advance to be able to check your bags for your flight. So she got there about 4 minutes late, she said. And she said the girl at the counter was like, sorry, there's nothing we can do for you. And she was like, I'm like a 3 million miler. Do you know who I am? You know, I don't think she got indignant, but she said they were like, sorry, nothing we can do. So she took to the internet and was like, Delta, I'm not having it. I'm not happy. I've got a lot of miles with you. What's the problem? So she went on over to somewhere, I think American or somebody, and got her a flight home. But what do you think about that? Like, do you feel like our celebrities have more room to ask for favors than normal folks do? Do you think the Delta worker was correct in saying, hey, sorry, you're a little late. There's nothing really I can do? Should they have gotten a manager and said, hey, this is, you know, regardless of what her name was, I'm sure in the system they were able to look and see, you know, what type of member she was. But yeah, Delta was not having it, and neither was Auntie Cheryl. So it is what it is. Takeoff passed away on last Tuesday, the 1st of November. Sadly, he was killed out in Houston. I know they're still investigating, trying to figure out what really happened, what went on. It's hard to see somebody here 1 minute and gone the next. It was, because I know the videos were circulating. I just happened upon one. It's not something I really wanted to see, but, you know, he looked like he was minding his own business. It was, you know, he was not involved, and he ended up dead. So, rest in peace, and prayers out to his family and his friends. Today we heard about Aaron Carter passing. He is the brother of Nick Carter, who was from the Backstreet Boys. I think he was like 34 years old. They found him in his bathtub. They have not said what his cause of death was, but his own brother came out and said, you know, he's had some troubles in the past and he just was hoping that he would have gotten to a better place. So it's always sad when anyone, not just celebrities, but when you hear of people dying in those manners, when you know it wasn't just old age or something. So prayers out to his family. And then let's talk about our crazy cousin Kanye. He's still at it. He's still in the news. He's still getting on everybody's nerves. He's calling out folks online. Shaq wasn't having it. Apparently, he said something to the left with Shaq, and Shaq was like, no, I'm not the one. Let's not even go there. So Shaq shut him down with the quickness. So Kanye, I still say, as always, just praying for the brother, because there's definitely some things going on there. They're deep. It's not just what we can see, but there's some stuff going on. I think we all know it. So just continue prayers for Kanye. So with all that said, let's get into the reason why we are here this week. We have a special guest who is on the live today. Let me tell you just a little smidgen about who she is, and then she can get into it as well. Miss Sarai Butler. She is originally from the DMV area. She's a Morgan State grad, HBCU. And tonight we're going to talk about her blog that she created called Backstreet Pack Travel, and also talk about the importance of the election that's coming up on Tuesday. So Sarai, if you are in here, go ahead and push the button so I can get you in here talking to those who are in the room, because we definitely want to hear about your travels. So let's get into it. Just waiting for Sarai to pop on in. Go ahead and request, and we'll get you in the room. Come on now. Oh, there she is. Okay.
Okay. I tried to, get it together.
I see you got it together. Welcome to the Sunday setup.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, welcome to the show, and let's get all into it. So, tell us about you.
Okay. Well, I am a traveler, a self-proclaimed traveler. I like to travel domestically, internationally. I like to travel a lot. Last month, I traveled every week. And so I don't tend to do that monthly every week, but I'm trying to get it down to 1 to 2 times per week. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, have a 21-year-old daughter. I have a full-time job, I have a part-time job, and I still get to do all this traveling. So if those who say they don't have the money or the time to do it, one or the other or both, you can always make it if you always, if you want to travel. So traveling is just my thing, and I love to do it. I'm an HBCU grad. I, love food. I love music. I'm a bookworm. I love to read books, and I love to do escape rooms. Every single city I go to, I usually try to find a good escape room. I just found one recently in New Orleans that was just great. So I can't wait to go back to Essence to do another escape room at that specific location. So yeah, I'm pretty well-rounded, I would say. I hope.
Okay. Well, thank you. And so, Backstay Pack Travel, how did that happen? Like, what made you decide that you wanted to create a travel blog?
Well, so originally, whenever I would travel, I would just come home and I would be really hyped to write down what I experienced, what I saw, the history that I learned, the food that I ate, the fun that I had, whatever the experience was. I just wrote it on my personal page. So I would get comments and say, why don't you just start a blog? Why don't you start a blog? And I thought about it for a while, but I do like to write. So I decided to start a blog, and I did start it during the pandemic, which probably was not, I wouldn't say it wasn't the smartest because it was all already in the making, but it was definitely hard to get that off the ground during the pandemic because travel pretty much shut down. But I stuck with it, and when I was able to travel again, I was back out there, especially during the pandemic when the flights were super duper cheap. That's when I got a lot of my travel experience done, or experienced a lot of travel because the travel was just a lot cheaper. Now it's back to regular, even more expensive
Yeah.
now, but I still try to get out there, and my bags do always stay packed. So either I am on my way home from a trip or I'm heading to the next one.
I know that's right. So, for people that want to branch out and start traveling, like, what do you say what should they do? Should they, because I know back in the day, you could be like, all right, let me find my local Liberty Travel and go in, but that's old school. Like, so say, you've never really ventured out and you want to start, like, what would you advise them to do?
I would say start in your own city. Start in
Mm.
your own city and see what things you haven't experienced. I'm positive there's something, unless you live in a really small town, there's something that you have not experienced. If you live in a small town, go to the bigger city that's closest to you and start there. Do Google searches. I do a lot of searches. I watch the travel channel. I watch the food channel, and I follow a lot of blogs and IG pages, Facebook pages that are really geared towards just travel. So they always give me ideas of places I want to stay, things I want to do, places I want to visit, food I want to eat, or something like that. And I try them, and then when I experience them, I tell you my honest opinion on it. So if it's not good, I'm going to say it's not good. Because I don't want anyone else to waste their money on it. So I'll waste my money on it, let you know what it is. My taste buds are, according to me, A1. And yeah, so I'll let you know what you should do, things that are fun, things that are worth it, things that aren't, like, recently going to the Usher concert last Saturday, that was my third time. I went to the after party, and I don't think the after party was worth the $225 that I paid for it. So,
oh really?
So I always give an honest opinion. I always try to gear towards Black. So it would be Black history, and Black businesses. So everywhere I go, I try to support at least one Black business, at least one. If not, support all of them. So yeah, so I try to do anything that's Black history, and learn the Black history of that area, or that city, or that town, or those people, or anything like that. Just try to learn something that is different that I didn't know before.
Okay. Now I gotta back up just a little bit. The Usher after party, was he there?
Yes.
He was?
Okay, so short story.
Okay.
I went with my family, well, specifically my sister, my cousin, and a couple other family members, right? So I went to the party. I'm a little older. I like a seat. I don't want to stand on my heels all night. So, and the floor was really, really sticky. I didn't like that. So after about an hour and a half, I was ready to go. So I literally ducked off and went down the hallway to leave. And as I'm leaving, he comes in with T.I. So I literally cross paths and like cross right past him, right past both of them. And so I text my sister and I'm like, he's on the way in. Y'all are going to have pretty much the time of your lives because they're in there. She told me the next morning they never saw him. He made a beeline through the club and went right back out.
He made an appearance and kept it moving.
I guess somebody saw him. I did, but they did not see him at all. So,
well, for $225, I at least expect them to say, "Hey, y'all, thanks for coming out," and then slide out. So,
and I thought he would have done that, but I wouldn't recommend paying for the after party.
Gotcha. Well, I digress. Thank you for indulging me. I'm a big Usher fan.
I'm the honest truth. Like I'm not.
I know you will. You're gonna keep it straight with no chaser. So let's talk about like those who, a lot of times you'll see people online. I'm like, oh, don't wait for somebody because you wait for people to do things. Sometimes it won't get done. So what do you think about solo travel in and outside of the country?
Yes. Okay. So solo travel is great. I have not solo traveled outside of the country, other than just taking a flight to meet someone in another country. So that wasn't necessarily solo travel, but I have solo traveled in the country. And I would say that the main thing of solo travel is to make sure someone knows where you are. Make sure someone that you trust knows where you are. Send them your address of the hotel, maybe even send them your hotel number, room number. Send them just kind of like an overview of the things that you'll be doing, what your itinerary is, and also your flights. So that someone knows, when to expect you back, maybe when to kind of check up on you throughout the trip and things like that. I also would suggest, as a female, I would suggest not to stay at an Airbnb. I'm not a proponent of Airbnbs, especially with solo travel, because they seem so isolated. Yes, they are beautiful. Yes, they can be, the knockout, whatever on the beach. However, you're dealing one-on-one with the person that owns it, or maybe the person who's running it. And those things can be a little bit scary. So when you are in a hotel, at least you have maybe someone next door, someone that sees you come in and out, maybe the front desk, someone, hotel staff that's coming in and out of your room to clean it, maybe room service or something like that. So I think a little more eyes are on you when you're at a hotel or at a resort versus an Airbnb. So that would be my thing. And then also don't take a bunch of expensive stuff. If you have your wedding band or, your diamond earrings or, all your Louis bags and your Gucci shoes, you might want to leave those home because you don't want to make yourself, a target when you're coming in and someone's bringing your bags in. You don't want them to see that you have, the laptop, the iPad, the iPhone,
Mhm.
diamond earrings, all the bracelets, all the shoes,
Absolutely.
all the bags.
Mhm.
Yeah. So you
Yeah.
kind of want to stay a little bit, I would say a little bit more low key.
Do you ever, I've seen them advertised online, but I've never gotten one, but I've thought about it. You know how they'll show those things if you're traveling, you can put something like in your door and kind of
Yeah.
lock, like something to attach to your like hotel room door. Have you
Yes.
ever done one of those, and would you suggest something like that?
I have not done one of those, but I do lock my door and I use the, the latch that comes out that blocks the
Mhm.
door. I do
Mhm.
that, and then I also don't get cleaning service, so I
Mm.
don't have anyone coming in and out of my room.
Yeah.
Um, just for the simple fact that I don't want anyone to know that I'm there by
Mhm.
myself. So if you have someone, I would say that's kind of opposite of what I just said about cleaning. But if you
Mhm.
want someone to clean the room, at least you have someone who has eyes on you. But I'm
Yeah.
just not a person who likes to, have someone coming in and out of my room. So,
Absolutely.
I keep the privacy on the
Yeah.
entire time. So
Ask for a couple of extra towels and washcloths in
yeah,
the beginning. Utilize that safe. Yeah,
yes,
I
yes.
agree.
Or take them off the cart like I did last weekend in Vegas. Take them off the cart when you see them in the hallway. You ain't got to call them.
Thank you.
Yeah,
That's true.
off the cart.
So let's get into day trips. I know you recently started doing day trips. What was that about? What made you start wanting to do that?
Well, so I didn't recently start day trips. I recently started posting about day trips. So,
Okay.
because I didn't really think that they were, I guess, blog worthy. So I don't necessarily put them on my blog. I just put them on my IG page and just kind of
Mm-hmm.
tell you step by step on what I did that day. So day trips. The most important thing for me is that it has to be less than 2 hour flight. So 2 hours or less to get wherever it is, and then you have a span of at least 7 to 8 hours when you're there to
Okay.
be able to experience whatever it is. The main thing is to go to a place where things are kind of within the same area. So a good day trip place would be New Orleans. A good day trip place would be New York. A good day trip place would be Miami. So those places where, things are kind of stacked together where you can either walk or take a short ride to the next place.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the places that are ideal for me to do a day trip. Also, plan it out. So I do the things, I plan it out and I say, okay, these are the top 2 or 3 things that I would like to do or like to accomplish within those 7 to 8 hours. And then the other things are kind of filler. So I might have time to go here. I might have time to go there. I might be able to, X that and do something else, or X that and keep that for the next time I go there. So I
Yeah.
just kind of prioritize my list on things that I would like to accomplish. And then the other things, if I get them done, I do. And if I don't, I don't. It does end up, it ends up being a long day. It does. However, you don't have to pay for a hotel. You don't have to pack a bag.
This
And
is
you're
true.
literally home in your bed that night.
This is true. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite place that you've taken a day trip to?
Day trip, New Orleans, for sure.
Okay.
New
Okay.
Orleans. New Orleans because like once we got dropped off, me and my friend Ty went and we got dropped off right at Cafe Du Monde first. So it
Mm-hmm.
was like 10 o'clock in the morning. Then we
Mm-hmm.
walked down to Cafe Beignet. Then we walked
Mm-hmm.
over to here. Then we walked. Literally everything was walkable except for Maro's. Now I'll give you a tip. On Thursdays, Maro's has gumbo ramen only on Thursdays until 7 p.m. So
Gumbo and ramen?
yeah, so it's gumbo. They have like all the seafood and the ramen noodles. It's spicy. It is the best. Nobody else does it that I know of. And so I've flown down there a few times for the gumbo ramen.
Okay.
Um, so that's just on Thursday. So just know like the menus and the times and all that stuff like that. So Maro's is not within the French Quarter, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a short ride. And so it's literally on the way to the airport as well. So that was our last stop. And then we went to the airport. So I think we had about 7 hours and we got a lot in New Orleans. So,
Okay.
but New Orleans is walkable.
It's very walkable. Now, I know I've been to New Orleans before. I know they have like haunted things and ghost
Mhm.
trips and tours. Would you recommend any of those? Have you ever been on one?
The ghost tours. So let's see. The ghost tour I went on the last time, I would not recommend it.
Mm.
I think they make stuff up, and I think they just, kind of just, New Orleans is supposed to be this spooky voodoo kind of city, and
Mhm.
they tell you anything. So I would not recommend the ghost tour that I went on. What I would recommend is if you have more time, not just a day trip, but if you have more time to go visit the Whitney Plantation.
Mm.
And that you can get transportation out there. They have the tours that go out there, and it's about a 2 hour, maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour ride out there. But they'll bring you back as well. So just book the whole tour, and that is probably one of the best tours in New Orleans is to go to the Whitney Plantation. So I wouldn't recommend the ghost tours.
Okay. So I know you've traveled a lot of places in the US and in other countries. What is your favorite destination? And you can't say New Orleans. Or if it's New Orleans in the US, your
No,
next favorite. And
no.
then outside of the country, what would be your favorite destination? So in the US and outside of the US.
Okay, so in the U.S., my favorite destination. You said I can't say New Orleans. I'm going to say, hmm,
Well, if it's New Orleans, you could say New
I
Orleans.
don't know. I would say New Orleans, but I'll pick my second. My second will probably be New York
Okay.
for a day trip. There's so many places though that you can visit in the States. Like the Grand Canyon was amazing. LA was great. I don't know. Nashville was even really
Hmm.
good. Like, there's so many places. So I would say my favorite outside of New Orleans will probably be New York because there's just so much
Oh
to
yeah.
do in New York. And I mean, if you get bored, I don't know what you would do.
Yeah, I agree. I used to live there and I used to say, one day I'm gonna just be a tourist, check in
Yeah,
a hotel and just do those things. Because a lot of times when you live in a certain place,
hmm
you don't think to explore where you
right,
are.
right.
So, all right, outside of the
So
country.
outside, I would have to say my favorite is Amsterdam.
Okay. Why?
And Amsterdam, well, because I'm an engineer by trade, and
Mhm.
I have my degree in that, so I love technology. I'm not up on it all the way, but
Mhm.
I love to see when places have a lot of technology. So they had like different things like you can go into the McDonald's and not just push the button. I mean, they would like serve you the food and stuff like that. And I didn't go in there, but I just saw it and I'm like, wow, that
Mhm.
is really interesting. Also, architecture. So the
Mhm.
architecture, everything was just clean lines. Everything was just straight up and down, clean lines, balanced, spaced well. I like that. I like that evenness of
Mhm.
Amsterdam. Also like the fact that they had Black history there. They have the country I cannot remember off the top of my head right this second, but it's a country that actually were taken as slaves or enslaved in Amsterdam, and they've stayed there. And so, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but while we were there, they were actually having like an anniversary of
Mhm.
them being brought there. And so they
Mhm.
have the restaurants there that serve that type of food. It starts with an S, but they had a lot of Black history. So there's a tour guide there, Jennifer
Mhm.
Tosh, Tosch, that
Okay.
does the Black tour of Amsterdam, and she
Okay.
is absolutely amazing on saying, what the Black, like what our Black culture is in Amsterdam. And I would have never thought that we
Yeah.
had imprint or had our culture in
Yeah.
that country. And so when I found that out, I even fell more in love. The red light district was just very interesting. The massage that I got from the guy, the creepy weird guy, that was moaning while he had his genitals on my shoulder, that was funny and a little creepy and a little weird. So it was such an experience. The food is really good.
Mhm.
It was just
Really.
we went to a Black owned weed dispensary,
Mhm.
and I think it's called Black Star. And so we
Okay.
went there, and of course, weed is not necessarily legal in Amsterdam, even though people think it is. It's really not. But prostitution is. Imagine that. Prostitution
Okay.
is. So it's a very interesting dynamic in Amsterdam.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I absolutely loved it. Love
Okay,
Amsterdam.
awesome. Now, would you ever consider living outside of the U.S.?
Absolutely. And now that I'm an empty nester, I would do it. I would so do it. But you know, it's I'm not retirement age yet,
Mm,
so and I can't work remotely out of the country.
okay.
But if I could, I probably would, and I probably would do it like, live 6 months, 3 months, something.
Mhm.
I would maybe do, you know, two, I don't know. I would do something, but yes, I would live outside the country. In
And would
Amsterdam,
it be
is
in
not,
Amsterdam?
yes,
Really?
yes, I would live in Amsterdam for sure.
That is awesome. That is so good to know. And what is on your agenda, like for the near future? Do you have any exciting trips planned?
So I have well, I have one new place I am going. People probably will be surprised that I've never been to the Dominican Republic, but I have not.
Okay.
So that's up very soon.
Hmm.
And then also I'll be going back to Cancun
Okay.
twice,
Okay.
in
Bags
December
stay
and
packed.
February for two different functions. Other than that, I probably will end up going back to Cancun again in May. But yeah, so other than that, so between those trips, I would like to plan at least something in between those. Even if it's just a short weekend to go visit somewhere I haven't seen before.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I see we have a question here. How is the weather in Amsterdam?
Well, it depends on the part of the year. So this is actually the time that I went 3 years ago for it was three of us and it was for our 40th.
Okay.
So this time of year, I didn't bring a North Face,
Mhm.
but I did bring a little something, a little scarf, little hat, a little leather jacket, couple hoodies. So
Okay.
yeah. So I wasn't bundled, but it did rain. It did rain almost every day. It was a little.
Really?
Yeah, it was a little rainy, but it just added to the ambiance of the place. That's what I think.
Really? Well, yeah, it sounds like it would add to it. But like one of the places I have never been to Europe, I've thought about London, but every time I see it, it looks so gray. Is it like that in Amsterdam? Is it like,
Mm, I mean, yes and no. I guess when you're not really focused on the weather, you don't really pay as much attention to it because I was so
Mhm.
focused on doing everything that we did, and we did a whole lot there.
Mhm.
So I didn't focus more on the weather, but it was a little bit gray. Now, I will
Okay.
say London is probably a little more gray, but I've been to Europe before and outside of Amsterdam. And other places are definitely sunny.
Okay.
So, yeah. So London and Paris may be a little gray, but I think if you plan it out, where you're not necessarily outside, trying to enjoy the sunshine, if you're inside
Mhm.
doing things, then, you should be okay.
Okay. Now, do you recommend, do you know like cheaper times to travel? Do you recommend traveling like when kids are in school? Have you come across any of that when you're looking to book?
It depends on the place. It depends on the
Okay.
place. Am I a savvy traveler when it comes to like finding when it's the cheapest? I am not. I cannot lie and say that I go when when it's the cheapest time to go. I really don't. I go when I want to and when I have time. So
I
I don't.
feel you.
The only thing I look at is weather. Honestly,
Okay.
I look at weather. So if it's like hurricane season, you definitely don't want to go to the Caribbean during
Hmm.
that time. But other than that, yeah, I don't really look at when it's a tourist season. But if I go during a low tourist season, then I'm happy. But that
Hmm.
doesn't really guide when I go.
Okay.
So I don't pay attention to it as much.
Now, if people want to follow your travels and learn about some of the places you've been, oh, wait a minute, before I get to that, we have another comment. Any tips for finding unique experiences instead of the typical touristy sites?
Yes, I have a suggestion. Go to my blog, backstaypacktravel.com, and I tell you where to go to find some unique experiences. Or you can also send me an email or send me an instant message on my IG page, and I always give out suggestions on what to do, depending on what you like. So
Hmm.
I'm a foodie. I like food. I like drinks. I like to have fun. And so I'm always going to be out in the streets doing stuff. So if anybody wants any tips, I'll be happy to give it to anybody who, if I've been there, I'll let you know what you should do.
Thank you for that. Well, while I have you here,
Yes, ma'am.
Tuesday is a super important day. It is election day, midterm elections, and I know you have some experience that you got earlier this year, volunteering to work the polls. So, can you
Yeah.
tell us about that experience? What made you decide you wanted to do that?
I decided I wanted to do it because I felt that we as a black women, younger under 50 black women were not represented. Every time I go to the polls, it's usually older women,
Mhm.
white and black, that are there. So I wanted to see, what is going on in the polls and what is the importance of them? What is the importance of having poll workers?
Mhm.
What happens behind the scenes? I
Mhm.
wanted to know. I'm nosy, so I wanted to know what happens behind the scenes, and could Georgia have cheated?
Mhm. Because there was a
So
lot of questions around it.
exactly. So I wanted to know. So I did it.
Okay.
And it was
And what was the experience like? Like, what was your day like? Like, what did you do?
whew, poll work is not for the faint of heart. I did not expect to work that hard at all. I thought I was gonna put a couple papers in the ballot box and keep it moving, but that was not the case. We were setting stuff up, we were shutting things down, we were going across floors, we were changing stations. I mean, this literally happened the whole entire day. So I was there for about 14 hours. And there
What?
is no break. Like, I mean, they give you like a short break, but it was a long day. But I
Oh,
will say that the people that I did work with, they were super nice, super helpful. And I don't believe that, within the voting system, especially in the state of Georgia, that there was a way to really cheat the system. I'm not sure about
wow.
the absentee ballots because I didn't do that part, but I do know that when I was there, they if someone was in the wrong district, they were sent to the correct district. If it was too late to go to the correct district, they had to fill out a bunch of paperwork to have their vote counted. So it's a very tedious process. IDs and checking IDs and scanning real IDs and I mean, it was all to signing. We had to sign. They had to sign. It was, taking the card, put the card in the thing, get the paper out, slide the paper in the thing, get the process, all the, like a successful ballot. I mean, it is a process to vote in this state, and so um, I felt good about the fact that that those people that were there, um, they didn't want you to vote for a certain person. They just wanted you to vote, like just vote.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so it wasn't a real like let's well now it's Herschel Walker down here and Raphael Warnock. So they weren't pushing either one. So it's a
Yeah.
non-political type of position. So you don't push either one. You just
Mhm.
encourage people to vote and to vote correctly.
Okay.
That's
And
it.
did you have to, how did you find, like, how did you do it? Like, did you see something advertised where they were looking for poll workers, or did you
I
seek this
applied.
out? Okay.
I applied. Yeah, I applied. And I applied a long time ago. So this wasn't just for this primary election. I applied
Mhm.
maybe a year or two ago. And
Oh,
so they
wow.
finally called me and asked me was I still interested? And I said, okay, then you have to go through training. We had to do 4 hours of training first.
Mm-hmm.
And we get paid for the day of election, but anything else outside of that, you
Mm-hmm.
don't. And then they have people that are designated to take the ballots. You got to drop the ballot. It's a whole extenuous process to
Mm-hmm.
vote. So yeah, so I applied for it. I didn't know that it was so detailed, so
Mm-hmm.
but I'm glad that I did do it. I'm not doing it this election because I'm going to see my niecey poo on Tuesday. But I did already vote. So if you did not vote already, please go vote on Tuesday.
Absolutely. It's so important for us to utilize the I want to say gift that we have to be able to vote, because
Yeah.
so many so many people did not get to, had that right taken from them, had
Yes.
unfair, we were talking about how you had to take a test
Yes.
to see if you would be allowed to vote.
Yes.
I
And Rosa
mean,
Parks took it 3 times. before she got her voter registration card. 3 times she had to take it. And not that she failed. 3 times she had to take it before she even got the right to vote.
That's, yeah, that's heavy. That's really heavy. Like, we should not take this blessing, this gift for granted and utilize our voices. You know, I'm not saying who you need to vote for, but if you feel strongly and you're passionate about, you know, your communities and what's going on in our country, you need to be able to use your voice and go vote.
Yes. And I will also say that the general election and for the governor, for the president, they're all great, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we still need to vote for those on the local level all the time. We need to vote for our district representatives. We need to vote for everyone on our local level, because those are the ones who actually affect change locally, and then it goes from the bottom up. So we have those people that we vote in on our representatives and those types of things. Like, if we vote on the lower level, our local level, then those people can affect change on a higher level. If we just vote for the president, once every 4 years, that's not what's gonna, do it. Yes, please vote for them too, but pay attention to who you're voting for on your local levels, and go and vote for those people. And then you can also, you can have more change, especially in your community, in your city, in your town. You can have more change that affects you personally on a federal level.
Because it'll affect you faster, probably in your local area, than it will on the federal side and the larger area. So I appreciate you sharing your love of travel with us and talking about your time serving as an election poll worker. I know you do a lot of things, and I appreciate you taking the time out to talk to us today. I know there's some other stuff you're involved in, but we're going to get to that another time. But just thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm always watching to see where you're going next, and you're always going to have some funny commentary along with it, because you give it to us straight. Like, you're going to tell us whether it was good or not. So I appreciate that honesty and that realness. So if you have not followed, please follow her on bags_stay_packed_travel.
Yes, on Instagram. Yeah, and I'm on Facebook as well. So Facebook, Instagram, and I have my blog. My blog is where all the details are. But my day trips are definitely on just the IG.
Absolutely.
So, someone is asking, when am I bringing the quizzes back? I will bring the quizzes back.
What are the quizzes?
I have quizzes. I was doing quizzes on can you guess where I am, and then I would send like a small gift. But yeah, I'll bring those back.
Okay, the people have spoken.
I know, right? I saw the question before. I said, "Oh, okay, we didn't get to it, but I see she really wants to know." So I'll bring them back.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Sarai. I appreciate you being here, and we wish you nothing but the best, safest travels. Please take lots of pictures and give us the real. So I appreciate it.
Yes. And wherever, I do want to end with saying, make sure wherever you go to support a Black business. That is my last request. Wherever you go, Google search Black business wherever you are, and if there is one, try to buy at least one thing. Try to support all Black businesses in this country and beyond.
I love it. Well, we have another comment. See, people, they want to talk to you before we go. Where are you off to next?
So I am off to I'm going to see my niecey Pooh on Tuesday.
And where's your niece?
I'll be back in DC on
Tuesday.
Okay. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, let me let you get on out of here. I know you stay busy. Your bag's probably packed and ready to go somewhere tomorrow. So thank you for joining us. And we'll definitely stay tuned to see where you travel to next.
Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate
You're welcome.
Me today and bringing me on IG Live. It's my first live. So it's a little nervous, but this went well. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much. I
You're
appreciate it.
welcome. All right. Thank
All
you.
right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, y'all. That was Miss Sarai Butler of Backstage Pack Travel. Hope you enjoyed that. She's fabulous. I just love her. I be living vicariously through her sometimes. When she be jet setting, and I'll be like, yeah, one day I'm gonna get there too. So I love to be inspired. I love to see my sisters doing it, and she is doing it. So I think that's all I have for tonight. But I really appreciate y'all being here. I appreciate you being here on Sundays with me. And I pray that you have a great week. Go ahead and create that great week because they don't just happen. And God willing, I will see y'all all here next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So have a great week. Bye.